Now the next thing you want to do, you want to set up your layers so that you can start drawing over the top of your image. So by default, when you open up a document, it's going to already have a layer 1. So why don't we rename this layer 1, double click on it, and just name it reference. And the exact name isn't important, it's as long as it's something that you are able to keep track of. So reference is good, but anything you would like to name it is fine as well. Okay, now what we want to do is we're going to reduce the opacity of this image so that it's easier for us to draw over the top of it with the pen tool or a shape tool or something like that. So we can go over to this window here, this little icon here. If we hover over these, we don't really know what they are unless we open them up. So this is the appearance panel. And why don't we do one thing? Let's go under Settings in Illustrator, go to General, and choose Show Tooltips. We can turn off Show Rich Tooltips, but let's just keep Show Tooltips checked. And let's hit OK. And now with tooltips, what that means is if we hover over our little button here, our icon, it's going to show us what these do. So if we hover over the appearance panel, we can see that this is the appearance window. So if I click on that again and I open it up, I see where it says opacity. So let's click on that, and opacity is by default 100%. So click on the arrow and then just move the slider. And we can reduce the opacity to 0 if we wanted to, but we do want to see it a bit so that we can see it enough that we can trace over it. So whatever is comfortable for you. I've got mine here at 50%. You can also just type the percentage directly into this little box. And another thing that you want to make sure that you do is you're going to have your layers window in this little button bar here on the right hand side. When you open that, go ahead and click this tab and then this click and drag it out so that it becomes a floating window so that you have it available. You want to be able to refer to this because now that we've reduced the opacity of our reference image, let's go ahead and lock that layer. So just click in this little blank space to the right of this eye and lock the layer. Now what this eye does is it toggles the visibility of the layer off and on. It basically hides the layer or shows the layer. So let's leave that on. Make sure that your reference layer is locked. And the reason we're locking it is so that when we're tracing over it, we're not accidentally moving it, and that'll mess us up. So let's make sure it's locked, and then click this little Create New Layer button at the bottom. And now we have a layer 2. And we can, again, it's a good practice to rename our layers so they're not just named something generic like layer 2. We can name this artwork, but it doesn't matter exactly what you name it, something similar, just so that you know what your layers mean. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to draw on top, or you're going to draw on the artwork layer. So just make sure this is selected, meaning it's got this gray highlight, and then selected, you can start drawing on that layer. And if I change the color of this shape, you'll see there's a little preview. We know that we're drawing on the artwork layer, but because it previews there. All right, so when you're all finished with tracing your artwork and you've got your own piece of art, you're going to want to change the opacity back to 100% of your reference artwork so that we can compare your artwork versus the reference image side by side. So what we'll need to do is lock the artwork layer and unlock the reference layer. And then click on the reference artwork. Now if your artwork layer is locked, even if this is completely covered with your own artwork, you're not going to accidentally select that artwork. You're going to select the reference layer below it. So you see that since the artwork is locked, and if I click on the shape, it's still going to select this reference image on the layer below it. So now that we have our reference image selected, let's go to the Appearance window and click on Opacity, and then we can just change that back to 100%. Okay, now what we want to do is drag our reference image off of the artboard. Let's drag it over to the left. And we could leave a little bit of a space between the artboard and the reference layer, and the reference image. And then what we're going to want to do is extend our artboard or resize it to encompass both the reference image and our new artwork. And we're just pretending that I've traced this entire image and this whole artboard is filled with my own work. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to click on our pasteboard. We're going to go to Document Setup, Edit Artboards, and then click on this little point here and drag over to resize our artboard so that it encompasses the reference image as well. So how are we going to get out of this document setup mode? We can hit the V key to get back into our direct selection tool, and we'll get out of that mode. You're going to make sure you save your artwork.